Mr. M.V. Chalapathy, we also lovely call him as Bobby, the Senior Director, Talent Development from Virtusa.
I'd like to start off this evening by reciting a verse from Saint Tyagaraja. It basically means, or it goes like this: Yendaro Bahanubhavulu, Andariki na Vandanamlu. It means, or for those of you who've not heard it right, it's a verse in Sanskrit. It means, or it goes, Yendaro Mahanubhavulu, Andariki na Vandanamalu. Right? What it means to say is, to all those great people out here who have persevered in their life to come to where they are and to what they've achieved and what they have to give and what they've given to the world, right? My humble namaskars to you, and thank you, and keep the work going. With this, I'd like to start off what I've been asked to speak about. So this is a CEO conclave, I was told, and I can see a lot of CEOs, I can see a lot of budding talent, senior talent. When I say talent, I'm not referring to the HR function, I'm referring to talent in a very open context. All of you who have made choices to be part of the technology industry or even otherwise, right? Whether it is pharma, chemical, manufacturing, right? All of you have made inroads into the industry. All of you have made a choice to be part of this industry, and yes, you've made a choice to come and attend this session today. What exactly is differentiating and what makes a CEO, right? Is it an entitlement or is it a responsibility? For those of us who thought it is an entitlement, we were all pleasantly surprised that no, it is actually a very big responsibility. It's an accountability, actually more than responsibility. Right? I've had the pleasure of being able to interact with the CEOs in my current organization at Virtusa. Whenever he does come down to Hyderabad, instantly he's expected the week after next. So really excited with the opportunity to get to meet him again. He does typically a trip once every quarter. And I'll be doing complete injustice without referring to Suman sir, what you have been able to portray in the media, what you've been able to portray on the films, the kind of characters that you portrayed. What always stands out in my mind is, I know it had a very unhappy ending in Shivaji, but I thought the character that you portrayed in that movie stood out. I really liked that character. You breathed life into that character. I don't know if you ever visited Royapuram, but I'm told that you had lived in Chennai a long time back in your career. You and Sudhakar and all were possibly roommates, is what I was told. This is news I got from my brother-in-law. So I'm sure you've seen Royapuram, but I thought you breathed life into that character. While superstar is superstar, I thought you made a very great impact in that movie. It had a very sad ending, but I think that's how we want to pass on the message to the mass, that good always wins over evil. Thank you for that portrayal, and thank you for the portrayals that you've done over your career. I did not realize that you have done 700 odd movies already. Congratulations. Wish you good health, and wish you continue to do such great work. I did have the opportunity to travel once with you from Hyderabad to Ahmedabad, maybe about 4 years back. I was hesitating to come and speak to you anyways. I think you were whisked away from the airport the moment you got off at Ahmedabad. I'm presuming you had some personal work or official work. So thank you again for making it to this evening, and I certainly did consider it as a very great pleasure and honor to receive a memento from you. Getting to meet you was in itself a big event for me. Thank you. I have a very bad reputation that you give me 10 minutes, I'll take 1 hour. How's the equation, Krish? So should I stick with 10 minutes? Okay. And I consciously choose to do extempore so that I don't want to get constrained by a construct of what I want to cover. I'll try and keep it as much as succinct as possible. But the intent is people who rise up to the helm of affairs in any organization, whether you're the CEO, whatever role you are. We call it the CXOs now, right? The Chief Execs Officers. which comprises of CEO, COO, CFO. You have chief marketing, now you have chief fund officer, you have chief legal. People who helm affairs in the organization, who helm functions, who are role models and who take up their accountability and responsibility in their organizations. Right? So today, in the current time, everyone is really looking up at what's going to happen. Right? We just saw something about 3 years back, when we were all very rudely woken up by what happened with the corona pandemic, and we've come out successful. Some set of people from the healthcare and the life sciences fraternity who really burned the midnight oil and came up with vaccines to help all of us. And we believe that we are out of the red. It's behind us, it's in our rear view mirror now, and we're looking forward. Pardon me when I say this, but I think what the pandemic did has actually benefited a lot of people. And what I mean by that is the penetration of technology, the penetration of development in the industry, okay? The metros, the tier cities, right? I think it always had the access to technology and benefits. But what the pandemic did and pushed was it fast-forwarded adoption of technology, adoption of processes at the grassroots levels. You remember when the pandemic happened, and I keep referring to this quite often, is all along, right, people, all of us who have children who are about 5 years old or 10 years old now, when the pandemic happened 3 years ago, prior to the pandemic, what did you do when your child came and wanted to speak to you or wanted to take your mobile? You said no, right? You said, you'll earn this reward of getting my mobile only when you do your homework, right? So suddenly, a device, that was entertainment for a child. Suddenly you told the child saying, hey, listen, now you got to really study with this device. What went through the mind of that child to be able to really understand saying, how do I move from this to this? It was not easy, and none of us had an answer. The children were the ones who adopted, and so if you're able to reach out to them, everything else will fall in place. I mean, they are the most malleable product, right? They're like quick fire. They can adopt, they can access, they can imbibe it very, very quickly, right? Yet it took them also some time. And the flip side of this happened, when they had to get back to schools and colleges, right? Suddenly we saw that they were saying, why on earth should we go now, right? We seem to be comfortable at home, we seem to be learning, we seem to have got better grades. So we saw the conundrum of the flip side of that happening as well, right? So I'll keep that aside. So what I was trying to get at was, if you remember last year, sometime in July last year, 2022, the government of India had made an announcement, that all industries, especially operating in the IT space, employees will need to be returning back to work maybe about 60%, 80%. This was an announcement made, I think, by Mr. Goyal. And exactly a week's time, there was another announcement that came, right, which said, no, hold on, we're not going to implement this. Organizations where you see a need, you go ahead and implement it, but as a mandate, I don't think we want to do it. And why was that being done, right? Because the penetration that the pandemic did in the grassroots levels, in the tier 3, tier 4 cities, the use of technology, the various infrastructure opportunities that it threw up for people who never got a chance to come out into the cities, right? Not everyone can come to the city, and frankly, I don't think everyone should come to the city, right? Then you're really going to have a situation where it's only the cities that are going to continue to develop and get, overpopulated, while the villages and the towns will really get on the other side. So this actually pushed, right? And that's the primary reason why today the government is not hardballing on saying that everybody has to come back, right? This was a rule that was brought in by SEZ, and then they said, no, hang on, we're not going to implement this. So today, whether you're talking about internet, whether you're talking about food and beverage industry, go to any town, any village across the country and see the amount of business that they've started seeing. Food delivery, grocery delivery, internet, technology, right? Access to, being able to use internet. As simple as, if you have a laptop and if your internet signals are not strong, they came up with one small device that you can latch onto your laptop, right? Suddenly that started seeing a boom in the business. There was a time when the market was not able to cater to the demand. Right? So all of this is throwing up opportunities. I'm just using this as a reference that uh, you never know where your next opportunity is going to come from. Right? So Chris, you'll have to let me know when I have to stop. You'll have to let me know when I have to stop. Okay. So I had only 3 messages that I wanted to share. One was look at your employees, right, as people who run the affairs in your organizations. Look at your employees to understand and get a pulse of what they feel, right? See, we do have programs in our organization, rewards and recognitions, right, where we take care of the people who do well, right? Yeah, that's 20%, 30%, right? They anyways they're doing well, they're on the right path, and we're recognizing them. The balance 70% or the balance 50%, okay? People who are the bulk, the bone of the organization, right? Where are they getting their due recognition from? And of course, the last 20% of people who are struggling for various reasons, right? Not their fault. See, if it's an attitude issue, if it's a will issue, then obviously, you don't have to worry about it. But with a skill issue, are you going and addressing it? So, as people who are running organizations, as people who are holding, roles, where you are heading roles in your organization, do take time out to look at those aspects, right? Employees, and when I say this, it's about your household. If everyone in your household is fine, right, you're not going to worry. But it's never going to be a case that everyone in the house is going to be feeling fine. So how do you spend time identifying who's doing what, why are they feeling low? How do you spend time to get them up the curve, right? So it's a responsibility, it's a moral responsibility. It is a duty of anyone who's anyone who's heading the function or the department, okay, or the business, to ensure that you spend time, you take time, interest to understand why are people in your organization, in your department or function, not being successful? Why are they not even able to come up with an optimum output? I think that's where it is important to invest time in, right? The rest will fall in place. Trust me, if you take care of this, anyway, the rest is above it, it'll fall in place. That's the first one. The second one is how many of you are spending time with people who consume your products and services? Right? Today, we are all so savvy with technology that we use our mobiles, we have data, so we are all so savvy with it, we are missing the touch and feel of understanding what our customers, our end users of our products and services are feeling. Do make it a point to try and, as the people, as the CEOs, as the CXOs of your organizations, try and get a voice of your customers, right? And when I say voice of customers, it could be internal, it could be external, but it's important that you get that voice. And this voice is not purely only through data that is being provided to you through primary source or secondary source, but how often are you going to be spending time connecting with those people to understand that content. The third one is focusing on something that we all let go, right? Maybe the pandemic has brought it to the forefront, is mental and physical health and well-being of ourselves and our teams, right? And their employees and their families. How do we make sure that people who are there in the organization are feeling fit mentally, physically, and not just them, about how their families are also feeling catered to, and so that's when belongingness and engagement would get built. Right? Other than this, everything else that today the people who head organizations, right? There's so much we have to focus on, right? We're talking about cybersecurity. We're talking about supply chain. We're talking about anything and everything that we can focus on is a problem or is an opportunity, right? They will be there. They will never change. But what I think I primarily feel we should be focusing on is these 3-4 aspects that we seem to be missing. I believe that if you're able to spend some time on this, it's only going to help us reap much better benefits. And it's not just benefits from a profitability standpoint. Right? It's more about are you really meaning what you are there for, right? When you take on a role of, let's say, head of HR, or when you take on a role of head of product development, that's something that will happen. Trust me, you don't have to teach a person how to work. What he or she wants from you is, are you there to take care of him or her? Are you there to listen to them, right? That's what they put, and that is the untold truth. if you're able to really touch that point, if you're able to really, strike that chord, trust me, you've got a winning team on your hand. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Have a very good evening.